Hey guys, what is up and welcome back to my channel. As you guys can tell from the title of today's video, today we are going to be doing my 3,000 subscriber Q&A. I asked you guys to ask me a bunch of questions on Twitter. I have so many questions that I received from you guys, and today I wanted to sit down and just answer them. You can only learn so much about somebody online, so I really like doing these because I like you guys being able to ask me specific questions, because if you guys are not aware, I struggle a lot with social media. I have a lot of trouble responding to everything and keeping up with everything. I'm such a solitary person that sometimes it's really intimidating, so I do like to do Q&As occasionally so that you guys can ask me specific questions and then I can answer them on video for you. Alright, so the first question I have here is, if you could be intimate with one fictional character, who would it be and why? I'm gonna have to go with Holland from the Shades of Magic trilogy for this. I absolutely love Holland, and I feel like Holland is broken in enough ways that he wouldn't judge me for what's wrong with me. I know that's kind of a weird answer, but I actually know a few people who could probably agree with me on this. Someone also said, what's your desert island book? My desert island book, I feel like if I was actually trapped on a desert island, I would want to read something slightly less depressing. I would say Different Seasons by Stephen King, but if you guys are familiar at all, he does not write the most positive stuff, so I'm actually going to go with some kind of contemporary, maybe, I would say Neanderthal Opens the Door to the Universe, because that's such a lighthearted, heartwarming, comfortable book to read. The characters are really awesome, just the writing style is done really well. It definitely seems like a book that I could read over and over again, so it's definitely the book that I'm gonna go with. The next question is, do you have any recommendations for mental health books, or do you have any that are on your list to read? I actually have a collab coming up soon that is going to be a ton of mental health recs, so keep your eyes out for that. I wanted to do a dedicated video for that, so. Next question is, what book character do you think you are the most similar to or relate to the most? Honestly, I think the character that I relate to the most is actually a character that I don't like. I don't know if other people really feel like that, but Lila Bard from the Shades of Magic trilogy, I think her and I have a lot in common. She's really defiant. She just does what she was. She's kind of an asshole, and I feel like I do relate to that. I do feel like that's the type of person that I am on some level, and of any of the female characters I've read, she's definitely the one that I relate to the most. It tends to be when I really like a female character, it is because I admire something about them, or I really just enjoy who they are as a person. It's usually because they're very different from me. So I would definitely say Lila, and in all honesty, I'm not really that big of a fan of Lila. Okay, this one has a bunch of questions. Favorite and least favorite book so far this year? My favorite book so far this year is probably a toss-up between Neanderthal Opens the Door to the Universe and A Big Ship at the Edge of the Universe. I absolutely love those books. Those books were not books that I was expecting to love. They were both actually sent to me. I think Neanderthal Opens the Door to the Universe was from NetGalley, and then A Big Ship at the Edge of the Universe was sent to me from Orbit. So I didn't know anything about either of those books, and they're easily my most favorites that I've read so far this year. And the most disappointing book that I read, I kind of expected it to be a little bit disappointing, but I didn't know it was going to be that bad, and it'd be A Court of Frost and Starlight. I absolutely hated that book. Someone said, can you show your cats in the video? I absolutely would, but our cats are so loving that they tend to like climb all over me, and it would be really hard to film and like slightly annoying, I think, for everybody involved. I feel like they'd often try to knock over the camera or just be ridiculous if they were in my office. Also, my office is sort of a cat-free zone because I am allergic to them, but I do try to show them in vlogs and stuff. Like I said, they're very loving, so usually they're just like hanging around, and you guys will see them from time to time. And then she said, if this is too personal, you don't have to answer, but how did you discover you were bisexual, and how did you tell people? And then she says, P.S. I love your videos. Thank you. I discovered I was bi just because growing up, it wasn't really talked about as something strange. A lot of people just, you know, loved who they loved, and that was sort of just what it was. I guess I realized I was bisexual when I moved to Anchorage, which is a larger city in Alaska, and I got my first girlfriend. Her name was Kelly. And then I dated a girl named Ashley, and it was just so common, and no one really thought of it as weird. So when I just said, you know, I'm hanging out with my girlfriend, it just, people in my life didn't think anything of it. So I was really fortunate enough to live in that kind of society and to have that kind of family, just to where, you know, my family isn't perfect by any means, but they're definitely not judgy on sexual orientation. So it wasn't so much coming out as it was just, you know, I have a girlfriend now, and that was just a thing that was happening. It was like, if I had a boyfriend, it wouldn't be that big of a deal either. So for me, it was just falling in love with somebody or finding someone attractive and dating them and like developing a relationship. And that's just sort of how I realized that I just love who I love regardless of gender. Somebody asked, do you want to write your own book? And if so, what are your ideas? Yes, I am actually currently writing, of all things, a contemporary, and it revolves around magic and magic in the real world, but not in the sense of it's not a magical realism kind of book. It's actually about a girl who believes in magic because her mom taught her to believe in magic, and she finds a boy in high school who is completely like science-based, refuses to believe in anything like that, and they start to fall in love. Her mother died when she was younger, and she sort of started to lose hope that magic actually existed, and it kind of forms from there. I am really excited to write this. It has been a long time thing. It's been a long time coming, but I just don't have the time anymore to write, and I'm really trying to make time because I definitely live by that philosophy, but it's just been really hard, but it will eventually come. Ooh, someone said 2 authors you want to collab. I would die to see Stephen King and V.E. Schwab do a collaboration. I feel like, for me, I love V.E. Schwab, but I think there's just like I want a little bit more spooky, like a little bit more brutality, I guess, and I feel like Stephen King would definitely be able to help her with that, and I would just love to see V.E. Schwab give him more ideas, because I feel like at this point he's kind of running out of them a little bit. So that's definitely the collab that I would love to see. I think that that would be a brilliant book. Someone says, would you ever do a video on your tattoos? There's a few that I don't like that I actually want to get covered, but just as a general answer, I have 9 tattoos. I have 1 on my foot, 1 on my thigh, 2 on my right forearm, both my hands tattooed, both my arms are tattooed, and then my chest. And then on top of that, I have a ton of piercings. I actually have 6 facial piercings that you guys never see in videos because I don't wear them anymore, but I'm definitely from a heavily modded family. It's just like normal for us, but I don't know if I'll ever do like a dedicated video to it. Someone said, what's the most expensive book you own? The most expensive book I own is actually Rage by Richard Bachman. If I wanted to sell that book now, I can make so much money off of it, but I refuse to. And the last time I tried to buy a copy for a friend for Christmas, the cheapest one I could find was like $150. So I'm definitely not gonna ever sell that one. Someone said, if you had the chance to interview any author, living or dead, who would it be and what would your dream questions be? I would interview Stephen King, and then I would ask him to marry me because I absolutely love him. But really what I would ask him is how he manages to stay so positive and uplifting and sassy despite writing such heavy material, because I feel like the more heavy material you write, the harder it is to maintain like a positive outlook. There's like a quote that says, the longer you look into the darkness starts to look back, and that's kind of becoming the thing that you write about, or becoming the thing, like it's used more so for detectives. You know, they study serial killers and things like that, and eventually like the further along you study them, you start kind of gaining some of their traits. So I kind of want to know how he's able to stay so positive and be just such a wonderful human despite writing about all these terrible things and having to research all these terrible things. Like, to make a book seem realistic, he's researching all of the things that are happening in them, and I think that'd be really intense. So I definitely want to know how he's able to maintain positivity despite all of that. And the last question I have here is broccoli or Brussels sprouts? And it depends on how they're cooked, but normally like my go-to is broccoli because it's so easy. Like, you just steam it or throw it in the oven with a little bit of olive oil. Like, I just absolutely love broccoli, but I would definitely say that there is a time and a place for Brussels sprouts. It's not often because I think they're a pain in the ass to cook, but I'm just gonna go with broccoli because I think broccoli is just like an all-around good for you food. Alright guys, so that is it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I really enjoy talking to you guys, you know, just answering questions. Like I said, I just think it's a lot of fun. Leave down below if there are any questions that I didn't get to in this that you guys would like me to answer. Or, I know there was a lot of video ideas in this as well. If there's any videos you guys would like to see from me, leave that down below as well. But I hope you guys are having a good week, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!